What's going on, everybody? Curtis Wilkerson with HawgSports.com coming to you live from the KeyBank Center here in Buffalo, New York. Survive and advance. Holy cow, Arkansas holds off Vermont 75-71. Upset alert is canceled for the night, at least, here at the KeyBank Center. It's been an absolutely wild spectacle in this building throughout the day. Down goes 5-seed Iowa to Richmond. Down goes 5-seed UConn to New Mexico State. Arkansas was the nightcap tonight, and a lot of the national pundits had the Razorbacks pegged as the team that was going to get upset here in Buffalo. So the building kind of already had that feel. But listen, Arkansas, they did what they typically do. They found a way to get it done. It wasn't pretty. Sometimes that's just not the way it is with this Razorback team, but it's effective. They've won 26 games at this point, and they're moving on to the round of 32. It had that feel early on. Vermont was hot out of the gates. They hit a couple threes in the first couple of minutes, built up an 8-3 lead. They were feeling themselves a little bit. It seemed like J.D. Notae for Arkansas was a little bit out of sorts early on in that game. I mean, how about this? J.D. Notae doesn't score in the first half. Scoreless. I don't know if that's ever happened to J.D. Notae. But Arkansas settled in a little bit. They dug their heels in defensively, played much better defensively to close the first half than they did to start it. Battled back, tied the game, eventually took their first lead about 10 minutes in, but it was a 7-0 run at the end of the half that gave Arkansas a 34-27 lead going into the break. You had to feel pretty good about that given the circumstances. Some other guys stepped up, Devo, Stanley Amude. So, you know, Arkansas's up 7 at halftime. You're thinking, man, you know, Notae is probably going to come back out here and get on a heater in the second half. Maybe Arkansas can pull away from this thing and have a comfortable win. Wrong, because the Razorbacks never make anything easy, right? Vermont comes out right away. They go on a big run, actually take a 39-36 lead. They were down 7 and went to up 3 in less than 5 minutes into the second half. And then there was a lot of back and forth in this basketball game until it looked like Arkansas was finally going to make that final push and pull away. They got up by 9 points with a little over 4 minutes remaining. Here comes Vermont again. You know, Ryan Davis, the big man, had been on a heater. He hit 4 3-pointers. Ben Shungu. We talked about those guys, the big man and the guard, that inside-out duo and combination, that they were problematic, and they were. I mean, those were the two primary guys for Vermont. They had big games. But Vermont, they scratched and clawed back, got to within 4, got to within 3, cut it to 2 down there at the end. And you know, Arkansas was kind of doing some things to give that game away down the stretch. You think about Jalen Williams, who's been money throughout the course of the season, missed a couple free throws there late in the game. J.D. Notae slipped, got called for a travel with about 43 seconds left. That gave Vermont the ball back when they were down 4, so it kind of added some life, gave them a breath of fresh air to keep on going there. So then you got Arkansas inbounding the ball with 9 seconds left. J.D. Notae kind of gets tied up there in the corner. The ball goes out. They initially rule it to go the other way. Arkansas gets the ball back after the review. J.D. Notae said after the game that he thought that it was out on him, but thankfully it wasn't, because after he slipped and had the turnover, after he had the near turnover there in the final 10 seconds, he got fouled on the inbounds. Arkansas is up 2. He goes to the free throw line, calmly steps up, sinks both, gets it to a 2-possession game. The Hogs force a miss, and they hold on to win this one 75-71. Oh, buddy. That was wild. I mean, what can you say? This is what March Madness is all about. Hats off to Vermont. I mean, those guys played incredible. They're so scrappy. They're so well coached. They're tough. They have no give up at all. And the Razorbacks just outlasted them, and they were fortunate, to be quite honest. But it doesn't matter. It doesn't have to be pretty, because at this point in the season, it's win or go home. And Arkansas won. They live to play another day. Some stellar performances, really. Stanley Amude, his first NCAA tournament experience. I talked on a number of radio shows about how I felt that Stanley Amude, there was just something about him in the build-up in his press conference yesterday. He just seemed to have this quiet confidence about him. I thought he might have a big game. He led the Razorbacks with 21 points. It's not easy to do in your first NCAA tournament experience. It's a nerve-wracking situation. The scrutiny's higher. The pressure mounts on you a little bit. But he was up for the challenge, hit some massive threes, and what he did on the defensive end for Arkansas was huge. Maybe the highlight of the game, he met one of the Vermont players at the rim with a huge block. Mentioned the three-pointers, he was scoring inside, really made a major impact on the game. March Devo, right? He's back. Okay? You know, Devo's had such an up and down season. He's had some terrific games. He's won some games for the Razorbacks this season, and he's also had some clunkers. You know, it probably hasn't quite gone the way that he hoped it had, but it's all about how you finish. And we've seen Devontae Davis on stages like this deliver time after time for the Razorbacks in last season's Elite Eight run. You think about what he did to rally the team from that deficit in the opening round against Colgate, locking down Mac McClung to advance to the Sweet 16 over Texas Tech, the shot against Oral Roberts. Arkansas needed somebody to get it going a little bit with Note struggling in the first half. He was dealing with some foul trouble again. Hey, Devo comes out there, he gives Arkansas 14 points, just made some huge baskets. Looked like maybe he was hurting a little bit. He had a heating pad or something on his back at halftime. Maybe that impacted him a little bit on the defensive end, but he gutted it out, grinded it out. Arkansas needed somebody to step up off the bench and make a huge impact for him, and he did that. So kudos to Devo, big for the Razorbacks. Jalen Williams, he had a tough defensive assignment. You know, we talk about how Jalen likes to get into the drop coverage and the ball screen action, likes to hang out in the lane where he can step over and take those charges, be a rim protector. He was challenged to get out on the perimeter more tonight against Ryan Davis. The dude's the America East Player of the Year for a reason. I think he had about 20 points, 4 3-pointers. He was, like I said earlier, he was really on a heater for a while there, and that was kind of what had Vermont clicking when they made their run to overtake the Razorbacks there early in the second half. But I don't think he got a shot off in the back half of the second half. So Arkansas really clamped down well and took him out of the game down the stretch, which was absolutely huge. Jalen finishes with 13 points and 10 rebounds, another double-double, so he's back on track with those after 3 games of missing it. You'll love to see it, right? And then JD, you know, mentioned him being scoreless in the first half. It's just such a rarity for him, right? Well, he just went out and got a casual 17 in the second half. So the 3-ball's not falling as well for him as maybe it has been. Seems like he's got a really high arc on that thing right now. I don't know, but he got aggressive and started getting downhill, getting to the rim. Vermont couldn't keep him in front. And he did a really nice job of playing in foul trouble down the stretch, but finding that balance between being aggressive and not overdoing it and finding himself out of the game late when Arkansas needed him. You know, a terrific job. You know, like I said, he made that turnover there at the end. He looked a little shaky, maybe a little rattled, but he wasn't, maybe because he stepped up and knocked down those decisive free throws. We've seen it from him time and time again. You think about a night like tonight, the pressure that comes with this atmosphere, with the situation that Arkansas was in, and I think back to the stretch that Arkansas had during the regular season to close it out, where they played 9 quad 1 opponents in 10 games. You think about some of those moments. The Auburn game in overtime, outlasting Tennessee, the 1-point victory against Kentucky, those battles against LSU. All those things matter. And you become used to the moment, you become numb to it, and you know how to go out and execute, and you know how to find a way. That looms large for the Razorbacks. There was nothing that happened tonight that this group hasn't seen this season. And you add to that the NCAA tournament experience that the guys had. You think about some of the big performers tonight, JD, J. Will, Devo. Those guys were some of the main catalysts for what Arkansas had going on. And then you had the big performance from Stanley Amude. Fantastic job. Now Arkansas advances. We all kind of thought maybe it was going to be UConn, the 5 seed, coming out of the Big East. They were 23-9. They ran into a little bit of a buzzsaw tonight with the New Mexico State Aggies, who are now 27-6, and knocked off UConn in a thriller in a game that they really controlled for most of the way. They match their physicality. They really get in you defensively and make you work. They'll get in the passing lanes, and they've got an absolute baller on the wing in Teddy Allen. He had nearly 40 tonight against New Mexico State. He can score it in a variety of ways. He's a big physical guy, can shoot the 3, hit the circus shots, get to the rim, crafty finisher. He's got some Mason Jones to his game. It's kind of who he reminded me of when I was watching him. So that's going to be a big assignment for Arkansas. Going into the round of 32, the Hogs are 1 win away from making it back to the Sweet 16, which would be all the way across the country, 3 time zones, over to San Francisco, where they would play the winner of Gonzaga and Memphis. But you got to take care of business against the Aggies first. It's going to be exciting. We're going to preview that thing for you tomorrow. We've got Eric Musselman, we've got the players again for another interview tomorrow afternoon. So stay tuned at HawgSports.com for all of our coverage. Whew. Thanks for joining me on the ride. It's been Curtis Wilkerson with HawgSports. As always, appreciate you guys. Congratulations to the Razorbacks. They survived and advanced once again.